the Honourable Peter Dutton, who is our Minister for Home Affairs.
It's very clear that if you seek to come to Australia by boat, you will just not be successful. Don't listen to the lies of people smugglers. Don't give your money over. Don't listen to family members that you might have in Australia who tell you that if you pay the money and you can hop on the vessel, that you'll successfully arrive in Australia, because you never will. And as the Major General pointed out before, tragically, 1,200 men, women and children were drowned at sea on the Killing Island. And so my message is very clear to those people smugglers today that we are not going to allow you to get back into business. We recently worked very closely with the Vice Admiral, with other people within the government of Sri Lanka, to return very quickly 20 people who had sought to come to our country by boat. And that should serve as a very, very timely reminder to people that the journey to Australia can only be by plane. It cannot be by boat. Well, as I say, that's a domestic issue for Sri Lanka, not an issue. That Australia is a very generous nation. We take a number of people through our refugee and humanitarian program each year. In fact, on a per capita basis, the most successful nation behind Canada in the world in terms of the numbers of people we bring in, but we will never bring in people by boat. People who come to Australia through our visa program, through our refugee and humanitarian program, come by plane. They make application through the High Commission or through our government and through the visa process. And those visas will be assessed on their merit, and we will decide who comes to our country in those circumstances. But we will not allow people to arrive in Australia by boat. And I know that people smugglers might be telling some of those who would seek to come to Australia that the situation has changed, but it hasn't. The people smugglers have been lying to you, and you must reject what they say. Regardless of how much money you hand over, regardless of what is promised.
As I said, on the 29th of May, those people...
Whether it's in relation to returning foreign fighters, whether it might be information in relation to the illegal movement of people, it might relate to the movement of illicit drugs or tobacco, for example. So there are many areas in which we can work together and exchange information. From Australia's perspective, we do have a concern about returning foreign fighters from Syria and from Iraq. All of us were horrified by the dreadful attacks on Sri Lankans and those people who were affected, the 258 who tragically lost their lives and 500 people who were injured otherwise. And very quickly we offered support to the Sri Lankan government, worked very closely, particularly through the Australian Federal Police, but through our agencies otherwise, coordinated by the High Commissioner here in Sri Lanka.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here.